All right, John, welcome back to the show for the first time in 2 years.
Basically, what happened, y'all, just to be real, I got my heart broken. I gained a whole bunch of weight again. I get up to go pee, and I immediately double over as if I had been drinking. I had noticed that my gut, that beer belly that I had, went away. I was just like, the beer belly gone.
Wow. So before you left, there was, because you were talking about, getting readings and different people you were listening to, and I remember there was somebody very specific that you were excited about potentially speaking to, who essentially just did readings and helped put people on their path. And I want you to just talk about your experience holistically with this person, maybe starting with how you found them, what made you so excited about the prospect of talking to them.
Yeah.
And then, of course, ultimately, what was the outcome with interacting with them and all of that?
Okay. I was on YouTube, as I so often did, because there's a wealth of information on YouTube, clearly, right? I see this guy, and he's talking about this woman. There's a video, and it says, Miss Blue talks about this, whatever the thing was. I'm listening. I was like, oh, okay, Miss Blue is bad. She cold at this. I'm like, okay, I'm listening, right? Then I realized that Miss Blue has a channel on YouTube. So I'm just like, okay, well, what's up? Let's go see. Let's go check this thing out. I go to the channel, and I just start listening. And, I'm using my own intuition, and I'm listening to what she's saying. I'm listening to the stories of the people with, whom she's speaking. And I'm saying like, oh, she is incredible. Like, she is an S tier human being as far as, if I had to put her in a tier, she's S tier. There's A, B, C, D. She's S. She's above. Special class, right?
Super.
And so I'm listening, and I'm just blown away. And people are coming in asking questions, and it kind of would be frustrating for me to listen to, because people would ask basic questions. They were unprepared, or they just like it's a parlor trick or something. And I'm listening to her speak, and I'm with brevity about these things. I'm just like, she is cold, and y'all are wasting her time. That's how I feel. Y'all are wasting her time.
You need to become her security guard or something.
Look, Ms. Blue, come on now. What you need? So I'm just like, okay, I need to get on the show. I need to get a show or get a reading or something. So I found her just listening on YouTube, which was really cool. And I know that she does that. She has many different listening platforms with like 8 million unique users across all the platforms. And YouTube is one of them. So I go to her channel, I'm listening and stuff. I'm like, okay, cool. Now I know she's got, if you want a reading or whatever. So I figure it'd be easier to hit her up personally for a reading, because, this all of you trying to get on the show. It'd be, I'll pay you. I have no problem paying.
I got the money, baby.
I have no problem paying for a reading. So I sent her an email. Come to find out, Miss Blue has a 2-year waiting list.
Bro, that's harder than trying to get on Oprah or something, like, or Joe Rogan or something.
I feel like it's harder trying to get on it. 2-year waiting list. I'm just like, okay, basically I'd still be waiting. I'd be until about March of this upcoming year. I would maybe be eligible for my reading. I'd still be waiting. So I discovered her channel. I discovered her channel, and I was just like, okay. And I just remember, like, me and Sasha would listen to Miss Blue. And I was like, every Friday and Sunday I'm listening, because even if you're not getting your direct question asked, there is a wealth, and I mean literally a wealth of information. If you apply the things that she's maybe saying to other people for yourself, like some things may just resonate with you, and it's just like, what, I need to do that. So I thought, so during this time, I'm wanting to get on the show, I'm wanting to get on, and I just, I don't for a while. So fast forward to 2022. I'm in Arizona now. Now, this is also post Sedona, right? It's June 24th, 2022. I'm listening to Miss Blue on the phone, and I call in because I told Sasha, I'm like, man, I just want to get on, but like I'm discouraged because it's so hard to get on. She's just like, just imagine yourself getting on and talking to Miss Blue. Imagine it. I say, all right, Quinn, I'm gonna do it. So I spend a week doing that. Just I'm talking to Miss Blue, and then I call in that show, and then she has this whole thing with like when she has a new caller coming in, she's just like, calling in from area code 3027, you're live on Planet Remix. Please tell us who you are and where you're calling from. And my heart was, I was like, Miss Blue. I was like, well, I wasn't that hype at first, but I could feel it. But I was just like, I was like, hi, Miss Blue. This is Jonathan. I'm calling from Phoenix, Arizona. And she was like, hi, Jonathan. I was just like, oh my God. I started freaking out.
Yeah. It's like better than meeting your favorite celebrity, huh?
Yeah. She is my favorite celebrity. If there were at this point, like, again, S tier human being. So I was ecstatic because after listening to her for the past year and a half, for the last year and a half or so, I knew that she would be able to help me. Because again, I gained the weight. I didn't know what to do. Like, I've got pictures too. So,
okay.
I didn't know what to do. And I was doing everything within the realm of my knowledge to do. And I learned that she was just like, she would say things just like, you could go on a fast for 5 days and still gain weight. This is how I already knew she was cold. Because I didn't tell her this. I didn't tell her this. I was like, Blue, that's already happened. That's already happened before. She's like, you could go on a fast. And she told me it's not about the food. And I was like, okay. And I knew it couldn't be, but I just didn't know what it was.
Right.
It's like, it's not about the food. And she told me it's the way that you flow energy in your body. That's the issue. And I was just like, okay. Now that I didn't know, so tell me more. And just explaining how, like, for one, I was holding on to a lot of anger. Now, mind you, in this present day version of me, I'm not really an angry person. It's not an emotion that I channel very often. There's really no need. It has its purpose, don't get me wrong, but it's not something that I readily need. It's very much shelved in the back corner of the room where, it's not really getting any sunlight. But she's just like, no, this is old. This is old. It's just in your aura, and it's very old. I was like, okay. She's just like, take a pillow and just scream into it. Drive that 2-hour drive from Phoenix to Tucson. Roll all your windows down and just scream. Let it out. I was like, okay. And it's just like when you go on your morning walk. Again, I didn't tell her about this. Like when you go on your morning walk, I'll go on hikes. I had a trail outside my apartment. When you go on your morning walk, flow the energy from the earth, up into your body, and then have the intention to release the energy. It's like, okay, cool. But here's the, you want to tell them?
I wanted to add something because you said that you're, John, like anybody who knows John in the past probably 10 or so years probably wouldn't consider him to be an angry person. But when you were a child, you were extremely angry.
Yes.
And especially like preteen. Like
yes.
Preteen specifically, but even younger. Like if boys, we grew up, there's 4 boys, like we would poke and mess with each other. We would do stuff on purpose to get on each other's nerve. John was ultra sensitive. You do something to John, he's flying off the handle. Literally, he's always been that way as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
So when you say the anger comes from a long time ago, it may not even be in this lifetime. Right. Because where did it come from? How did it get there? It's always been there. So I just wanted to add that because she, you know what I'm saying? You might, not you specific, but somebody listening might be thinking, oh, it's from, it's childhood abuse or being made fun of in school. But no, like it was essentially from day one.
Right. And talking about my past life stuff, then, it could be a child's tantrum on that, something that he doesn't understand or even consciously is aware of.
Hopefully you guys have spent the time to listen to this full story because you're starting to see the picture come full circle. Just even as we unwind and expound on it, everything is all making sense because it doesn't make sense for John to. None of us were that angry as children. We all had our problems. Don't get me wrong, But as far as the anger, for 5 children, we should all be that angry if John's that angry. What happened?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I just wanted to add that because I thought that was significant. Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. And I thought about that, but I didn't really delve too deep. But that's actually a really good, because that I was definitely the angriest, and it was just like an uncontrolled maelstrom of emotions, and it's just, from where is this coming? Like, you know what I mean? So anyway, so to kind of let go of that anger, and I was very confused. I was like, Miss Blue, I don't even be angry like that, So that's what she told me. I was like, okay, but here was the thing that was really important, and that really about flowing my energy. She said, what you want to do is imagine yourself. Again, now I'm going back to imagination. This is why this is so paramount to your success. She said, imagine yourself standing on the ground, barefoot on the earth. And from the deepest depths of the earth that you can imagine that energy flowing up, right? Imagine it flowing up. And so I imagine it as lightning first, because lightning was easier for me to imagine at this time. So imagine that energy coming up from the earth. I call it this. I say there's a storm brewing. That's just how this is one of my things. There's a storm brewing, and I'm just imagining all this energy is electricity. And so if she flow that energy up from the deepest depths that you can imagine, and it's up through your feet, through your shins and your knees, your upper thighs, into your torso, up throughout your entire body, and then you reach the top of your head, and then out of your head. Just imagine flowing the energy just like that, using the earth with her infinite amounts of energy. Use that energy. And I said, okay, cool. Now, she gave me other things. She gave me a lot of stuff, actually. But that was the most important, because this is where it gets kind of cool. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to do that. So we finished talking, and I'll tell more, but we finished talking and everything. Beautiful 45-minute conversation. I was on cloud 9. So that night, finished the show. That night, I'm going to start tonight. You say just do it every morning before you open your eyes. Before you open your eyes and get out of bed, do this process. All right, cool. But I'm like, all right, Ms. Bloom, but I'm starting tonight though, because if you telling me to do it, I'm doing it. If there's one person that I would blindly follow, it's Ms. Bloom. I'm not even playing. Like, so okay, so I do it. Now, if along with my journey, sleep has always been an issue. Bouncing up with weight has always been an issue. Much of I struggle, like falling asleep has always been an issue. That thing's always been hard. So I do the process, and then I lay down. And then I just remember waking up 6 hours later. I was just like, I fell asleep that quick. I fell asleep. And I was shocked because, well, first of all, I mean, I'm kind of skipping ahead, but I remember waking up, but I didn't open my eyes, because I can be very literal too. All right, Ms. Blue said, do it before I open my eyes. That means when I wake up, I know when I'm awake and my eyes are still closed. So I wake up and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna do this process. So so first of all, when I woke up, this is the very first night, I was just like, okay, I know I've only been asleep for, a short time or whatever. Oh yeah, that's what it was. I've only been asleep for a short time, so I'm gonna go back to sleep. I'm gonna lay down and go to sleep. But I sit there with my eyes closed for 2 hours, just trying to go back to sleep, because I'm so used to needing a large expanse of time for sleep to actually feel rested. And I'm just there, and I'm just.
It's just habitual to.
Right.
I'm the kind of I understand.
Yeah, right. Like, I think So after about 2 hours, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna do the process before I get out of the bed, but I'm gonna get up. And that was the first night. I was shocked because I just went to sleep and I just, everything was good. So that was the first thing I noticed, that like I slept better just by doing it that night before. Then the next night happened, and the following, I did it for this. Let's just say this first week. In that first week, so quick reference back to something, I had been noticing in my body that I'm a massage therapist. So I know the difference between what bone feels like, what muscle feels like, what fat feels like in the body, palpating that I know the difference. And I had this hardness that wasn't either of those. It wasn't any. It's just like, so it's got to be like mucus or something like just just really hard and stifling. But in the fleshy parts, like my butt, for example, just this hardness. So I remember getting up one day, getting up in the morning, going to the restroom after I doing my energy thing, and I noticed I'm feeling my butt, and I'm just like, it's softer. It's softer. Why is it softer? And at this point now I'm realizing that, and not only was it softer, but I noticed I lost a little bit of weight. I didn't weigh myself, but I could, you could feel it. You could feel it. I lost a little bit, and I was just like, wait a minute. So what had happened was, over the course of this next month, just doing this exercise every day, I had dropped 50 pounds. I dropped 50 pounds.
Hold on. I just crashed. Had to reboot. All right.
Yeah.
So you have this call. You weigh whatever you weigh. You have this call. She tells you you're not flowing energy well. You start that night. Now, before I move on, I don't want to forget this point. One thing that also about you that is inhuman is your ability to take advice and be consistent and actually apply. A lot of people get information, books, whatever, and in one ear, out the other, or they put it on the back burner. I do this as well.
Yeah.
So you can get information, it resonates, and you actually will start doing it, and you will be consistent. I don't know how you do that because, it sounds easy, like, duh, Chris, but no, just think in your own life. Just think about it. You get information, even listening to AHA. If you've been listening to AHA for any period of time, a month, a year, whatever, you've gotten information that you have not applied, and it's good because you can see the results and the outcomes. But anyway, you start flowing this energy, and in 1 month, you didn't fast for the month?
Oh yeah, I did start fasting.
Okay, we'll get more into the details of it, because I'm like, you ain't changed nothing. You just started flowing energy, but even still, losing 50 pounds. The only time I see people that are fasting for a month losing 50 pounds are when they're, well over 400 pounds, usually close to the 500 pound range. If you're 500 pounds, I'll expect you to lose 50 pounds in a month. That's pretty normal for somebody that size. All right, so go ahead.
So, the reason that I started fasting, because at this point, I'm just like, okay, I want it to work because I know how effective it is, but it has not worked for the last 2 years. So I was burnt. Again, doing something and not getting the results from what you're doing, it will eventually, you're like, okay, I have to give up for now. Right. So the only reason I started doing it was because I wasn't fasting and I was just flowing my energy and I was losing weight by doing it. So I said, well, in order to expedite this process,
right,
I'm going to hit this fast while I'm flowing my energy, because that's the only reason. Because I'm just like, I wanted to get back to a certain place, rapidly. So that's what I did. Because after doing it for a week, I noticed that things were changing. I was feeling softer, where I had this hardness that didn't make sense, because it wasn't like all muscle in there. If it was all muscle, it would have looked a lot different.
Right.
But that hardness was, that mucus and whatever else that was just, dried up in there and just being stored on top of, the fat cells and that sort of thing. So yeah, I was doing that every day. I've actually done it every day since. This was June 24th. It's become a part of my daily, meditation thing. It's just like, I do my meditation. I do that during my meditation, because if my issue was flowing energy, and that means you have to make it a conscious effort to keep flowing your energy. Well, until you take over subconscious. I'm sure by now it's something that but this is also why I talk about not lying, just being honest, being authentic. If I feel like I'm going to cry, I don't stop that. Now I had that different experience, years ago, because I was emotionally backed up, and I was just like, if I feel like I'm going to cry, I'm not going to stop myself. Because I'm not going to cry. No, screw that, because that's energy, and you don't want to stifle that, because then you'll be emotionally constipated, and you'll be going through I had experience where I couldn't cry, like I literally couldn't cry, and the amount of frustration I felt in my body because I couldn't cry when I needed to. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. So to all these things about flowing energy and stuff, I'm just like, I've seen even in the past how I've been constipated energetically and the things that have happened. So I'm just like, this is a daily practice for me. Even, there's another thing you might say, I haven't done it on camera, but like I'll randomly tap my shoulder because Miss Blue, it's just like there's energy oftentimes stagnates on the left side. So it's just like, just tap your shoulder to help your energy start flowing again. And when I do that, I'll feel my toes tingle, just like one of those things. So it's just like, and that wasn't something she told me on the call. That's from me watching the show, which goes back to the point of she'll say stuff, even though she's not talking to you directly, but it'll still benefit you if you apply it. So like you might see me randomly doing like this. I'm like, what's wrong? Is this thing?
Got a nervous tick or something?
Got a nervous tick? Like, nah, bro, I'm just making sure my energy's not stagnating. That's all.
It's salt. You got the salt on your shoulder.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. See, when we were children, we knew what was going on, man.
We did.
We knew
what was going on.
It was innate,
you feel me? Like, sure, I'm not sorry, too. You sorry? No, I'm good, bro. So it was that conversation literally changed my life at that point, because it now added. We had the two things, right? We had the two pillars of health and whatever. This added that third one to me, because I say, like, there's the physical, the biological, the physical health part of it. There's like your mental, your emotional health, about, how you mentally, how you feel it. And there's obviously a direct correlation between how you think and how you feel with your emotions and stuff. Then there was the energetic. There was the part that I've done much as I could do from the physical and the mental and emotional part of it. But the energetic part, completely clueless until this moment.
Right.
I had no idea that there was, and again, now let me say this again. The imagination is the faculty by which you do these things. You just sit in your mind and you imagine it. It's not something that when you say you're drawing energy up, you are drawing energy up. It's just the only reason you feel like you're not is because you don't trust it, for one, and two, you just need to get your sensitivity up to it, because there's it's a muscle, it's an energetic muscle, and just like with regular working out, the more you do it, the stronger you get. That's just how it works. Your imagination is the same thing, but using it in that way, it's the same kind of impact.
And it's interesting because it takes us back full circle. Now we're back at the beginning of the conversation, and now, if you really pay attention, you start to see why it's important, if you want to control the populace, to strip the children of their imagination as soon as humanly possible, because of how powerful it is. Like, let's just recap. You look at all of the things that you've experienced, like all of this this ease, and change your mind. Instead of having a genuinely open mindset, give yourself a closed mindset. And now you're only really within that traditional realm of healing. So that's hospitals, doctors, and medicine. And now you have this amazing cycle of, it's not all about money, not by any stretch of the imagination. It's not all about money, but it is extremely profitable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there are people who like this, the way things are structured now, but you would be stuck in a cycle that would never make you better. It would prolong death and essentially deteriorate your quality of life until you had nothing left to give, at which point you would die.
Yep.
Whatever you were put here to do, whatever your unique energetic signature was capable of bringing to this world, would have been snuffed out, and you would just die, and your life would essentially have been a waste. And that's what they're doing to so many, like how so many people, even when you look at history, although we know history is a lie, American history is probably virtually all a lie. Whatever we learn here in America is just a lie. You could go to other historical references that are much more accurate, but you think about the world, 300 years ago, even 500 years ago, and it was all about discovery. Everything was new. The new age. It sounds so exciting. Ain't nothing like that happening now.
Yeah.
The last exciting thing that ever happened to us was the fake moon. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Yeah. That was the last exciting thing that's really happened, and that was just TV.
Right.
So, they have done their best to strip away our imagination, and they have done a very good job at it. And I think, this is also why people can't imagine the world being different either, which is a problem. Because how are we ever going to bring it into fruition if you can't imagine it happening? Yeah. You can't even see it. So you're so stuck in the way the world is now and how things are now that you can't see it. You can't even see your own power, your own ability to change. Like, it's quite a job that have been done on us.
Yeah. Yeah, they're masterful at it at this point. They've had generations of practice. And, some people become so dependent on the system that they defend it unknowingly. And this is why they want to keep people asleep, because they're dependent on it and protect it. They perpetuate it. And, you've got a few outliers like you and myself who are stepping away from that, stepping out of that matrix so we can have a clearer view and say, oh, okay, I see the game, I peep game. And this is why the health thing is so important, because that's, remember all the things that we learned about when we just started this process, just getting health. Like it literally changed the way I looked at the nature of reality.
Yeah.
Without being dramatic, but like the nature of reality, like, oh, this, every day it's a lie. It's all been a lie. It's all been a lie. So.
Yeah, man, this hearing the story like this in this small frame of time is like, oh, that's such a cool story. But like living it or being a close observer of it, like, because one thing people don't know too is like people, where's John? Where's John? When's John coming back? People don't know. I ain't talked to you in a year. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like John was off doing his thing. I knew whatever he was doing was going to help him reach the goal that he needed to go, whatever answers he was looking for. But I didn't know. I left him alone. John needed to be left alone, so I left him alone. Because a lot of people wouldn't understand that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'd have to be all up each other's butt all the time. Oh, he's my brother. We're supposed to be close. Da, 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 da. I mean, I felt some kind of way when months went by, or if we had communication, it would only be one-sided. Like I always initiated it. I felt some kind of way, but that was just me feeling some kind of way. You know what I'm saying? Being able to see that you were able to get to a solution to get you past this blockage, this freaking tree in the road. I started seeing you come back online because you also took kind of a social media break as well. So I started seeing you come back online, make little comments here and there. And I said, oh, something must have happened. You know what I'm saying? That's how I knew something happened. And then, I saw you start making your videos. And I actually had started to listen to one of your videos where you were talking about some of your experience. I said, I can't listen to this.
Yeah.
I got to wait until we get, you know what I mean? And you had actually hit me up maybe a month or two prior to that. Because you had seen, I think it was me. It might have been me, Steve, and Mel, or me and Steve.
You and Steven, I think, were doing
a live.
Uh-huh.
And you were like, man, it make me want to get on. We're going to do an interview soon.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yeah. Crazy thing is the story is actually kind of not over, although that was
I'm sure it's not.
Sure, yeah. That was the main thing. Okay. But I had noticed after I lost that 50 pounds during that month, I was just like, oh yeah. But it kind of slowed down again. I was like, okay, because basically all that had happened was I had lost the extra that I put on when I was still working through some things. Now, now Miss Blue, like we talked for a long time, and I was just like, come on, Blue, go tell me what you see. She's like, I ain't gonna give you everything, cause I shouldn't give you everything. So just I was just like, okay, I'm not gonna. You've already given me so much, so I'm not gonna be greedy.
Right.
But
well, you got to talk to her again now.
Yeah. She told me, she said, come back and tell us more. I'm like, I'm definitely gonna be back. I'm definitely gonna be back and tell you what's up. But I noticed, I was like, okay, I lost it so quick. I was so happy. I was like, okay, cool. So what happened was, I was like, okay, I'm still going, and it just can slow down again. I was like, okay, well, what's going on? So I was reading this book called The Silva Mind Control Method.
Oh, do you have a physical copy?
Yeah.
I ordered a physical copy of that book, and they played me.
Wow.
I have never got it. They just never sent it.
You got it on Amazon?
No, I ordered it from some book company. Oh. Abe. Oh, I don't even know if I can put them out there. They're gonna get some bad press. I think it was like Abe Book or something.
Oh. Yeah. Well, just go to Amazon.
Go to Amazon and get it.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I think I ordered it from Abe is because I think I was looking for a specific edition of it. Maybe like a first edition or something like that.
So I'm doing the Silva Mind Control Method, and I'm going through that. And at this time, I've already been going through it. So I'm at a point where it's just like he talks about dreams, and it's just like, yeah, you have dreams, we have dreams, and dreams do things. But you can also say, hey, I have a dream about this X, Y, and Z. So I was like, okay, I'm at that point. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to have a dream about what's going on in my body, what's preventing me from, getting past this hurdle. I'm going to understand it, and it's going to be good, and I'm going to know how to apply it. I go to sleep. I have some other dream or whatever. Then I have a second or third one, and then this last one, which is the important one, I just see myself in like the lotus position, shadowy figure, just a silhouette. All the chakras in the 7 chakra system, all of those are there, but they're dark, except my solar plexus. Now, solar plexus being the one about ego, but it's the stomach, is the stomach, and and kind of the energy around that area, and it's lit up, and that's all the dream was. And I woke up and I said, my solar plexus has a block in it. I have an energy block in my solar plexus. That's it. So I said, okay. So now at this point, been learning to trust myself, been doing the things that Ms. Blue told me. I'm doing these things. So, and reading through the Silva Mind Control Method book, and just like the understanding of the power of my imagination and why it's so important. I didn't need to say, well, okay, well, how do I do it? I developed a way that I felt would work, and I applied it. I didn't have to seek out somebody would tell me how to do it. No. I developed a way. I imagined a way, and that was it. And this again speaks to your imagination, but also trusting yourself and the power of your own power, or the power of your own magic. This is what I did. And so I was like, okay, there's a block in my solar plexus. So what should I do? So I was like, all right, well, I'll take some energy from the earth. I'll shoot it up through my root. Then I'll shoot it through my sacral. Then I'll shoot it into my solar plexus, and I'll expand my solar plexus. Let's just say it's this big. I'll expand it to where it's like this big, and I'll just, like stretch it out, and then like shoot the energy up. So instead of it stagnates, it like rubber bands and shoots up. Like this is what I'm at, and I just shoot the energy up, and I did up from to my heart, and then my throat, then my eyes.
Is it kind of like squeezing the toothpaste, like the pressure? You're basically creating pressure, and
sure, yeah. It was stagnant before, and I created some pressure and got it moving again. That's what I did, and I was just like, okay, and I took the energy up, the crown, and I flowed it out. So I took a little bit what Ms. Blue taught me about flowing energy out, but then I imagined a torus field, because you have a torus field, which is energy that you bring up and it comes out, and what's supposed to happen is supposed to feed back into you, right. Like a loop.
Right.
So I'm using the earth as a catalyst to just give me the extra energy, then flow it through my body, then loop it back down to then back up, and that's what happens. It's like an implosion. So I'm never wasting the energy. I'm only ever feeding myself, and that's what I did. And then after I started doing that, like I started just losing weight again.
Wow.
Because I told that energy thing to a few people, and one of them all had good experiences, but one had an incredible experience. And I was just like, all right, just do this every day. You do it every day. You got that goal, do it every day. And he was just like, oh, I'll do it when I think about it. And I was just like, oh, what?
See, John, this is your superpower. You don't realize it, I don't think. But it's your superpower. It's very challenging for a lot of people to get good information and apply it. It really is. As a matter of fact, a hallmark of a potential friend. So when I'm vetting people to potentially be someone that I could call a friend, one of the trials you have to overcome is being able to take good advice.
Right.
Because most people can't do it.
Yeah.
In any capacity. You are at a different level. Most people can't do it at all.
Yeah.
Like, so, just not to be discounted, man. Being able to take good advice. Because you know what the problem is? And then this is another thing, too. People, and I understand, but people want to know, is this going to work specifically for me? It's like, I know it worked for you. I know it worked for 1,000 other people, 1,000,000 other people. But is it specifically going to work? Well, there's only one way to know if it's going to work for you.
Yeah.
You questioning whether it's going to work for you or not isn't going to make it work for you.
Nope.
You have to actually do it. And also, you have to have an open enough mind to say that if it doesn't work in the way that you think it should work, it doesn't mean that it was a failure or a waste of time or anything, because sitting on your butt and doing nothing is the only waste of time.
Right.
The one thing that you do not do is you do not sit on your butt and just wallow and not do anything. You're always working towards something. And I think that that's the reason why whenever this happens, 5 years from now, you start writing your books. I mean, you'll be the person writing the book, because people, once again, John Silva.
Jose Silva.
Huh?
Oh, never mind. Sorry. Go ahead.
His name's not John? Oh. Where'd I get John from? Anyway.
Starts with a J.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe that.
Anyway. I don't know his full story. Maybe someone taught him this, but I'm pretty sure he learned it, right? Like,
he learned it by teaching his children.
He learned it.
He learned it.
He was observing his children,
and he was teaching them. They was having trouble. It's in his book. They were having trouble in school, and he was teaching them how to just so they can get better at school. Like they were getting real bad grades, and he accidentally taught his daughter how to be psychic, and he was just like. And what happened was she was getting into the alpha brainwave state, and he would ask her questions and she would just answer them. And then she would start answering his questions before he asked. And he was just like, "What? I didn't ask you." She's like, I didn't ask you." And he phoned somebody. He's just like, "I think I taught my daughter how to be psychic." And I was like, "You can't teach that. You're just born with it." But funny thing is everybody's psychic. It's
we already have it.
Are you pinched off or are you allowing? That's the only difference.
Right.
But yeah, so he developed, it in that way, just by accident.
Experimentation. It wasn't even intentional. You're just looking for healing. Whatever you develop from that is what you develop from it. But the point is, it's by doing it. People are so afraid to do, experiment, to feel. I mean, I put my body through so much. And people just be like, why? Why would you do that? I don't know, because I want to learn.
Yeah.
Like, how else am I going to learn?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't learn well from reading. I don't. I was thinking about it when we were in kindergarten and stuff. People be like, everybody learns differently. And they tried to make it seem as if there's, like 3 different ways of learning, and everybody learns differently, and it's equal. You know what I'm saying? I think most people learn the best by experience. And I think there's a certain amount that everybody can learn using these other techniques, but it's not the primary way that people learn. Mm-hmm. And that could just be from my perspective. Maybe someone could read a book, apply it, and with perfect mastery, they could just do it. But I just don't see that.
Right.
Ever. And so, experiment. What are you afraid of?
Right.
It's the worst that can happen.
And if you feel like you're wasting your time, then the bigger waste of time is just to ask if it's going to work for me than to not do it. And that's the biggest waste of time right there. So just go ahead and do it. Put the effort in, because there is no the foundation of this world is built on causality, built on reciprocity. There is no something for nothing. There is always a cost, and there's always a reciprocal exchange at some level. And the basis of that is the energy. And and this is like, you can't be so focused on the fact that you can't see the results right now. Now listen to the story. I have been focusing on trying to get back to this place for almost 3 years. It wasn't over. I struggled, and I was depressed, and I was angry, and I was exhausted, and I was heartbroken, and just all these different things. And I still persisted. I never got to a point where I didn't give into despair. And that's because all hope is lost then. So I don't care anymore. I didn't give into despair. I was, I was low, but I didn't give into despair. I didn't know where to go, but I did what I thought was best, and it felt futile, but I still did it because, me stopping is an admission of, I'm giving in. I concede. Life beat me. I can't do it. And now I'm going to go eat pizza and hot dogs and hamburgers and just not care anymore.
And you could easily be over 400 pounds right now.
With the way that my body used to flow energy, yeah, for sure. So it's just like, you got to be willing. You have to be willing. Y'all go to college and get a degree. You're not getting nothing while you're there. It's only after you get that paper that you can apply for that job. That's only after the paper you put the 4 years in. Sometimes y'all go just do 3 years and you don't even get the paper. So what that time do for you? It's just like, you could use that same modicum of discipline to do that, to just work on yourself for 30 days. Spend 7 weeks doing the silver mind control method. Just do something that's different. Just have this. And people make all kinds of excuses. It's just set an alarm, use Post-it notes, write it on the walls, write it on the bathroom mirror, put it on your car, put it on your door, put it on the handle on the door, put it somewhere you'll see it, put it on your phone. Y'all in the phones all the time. But take that accountability, that radical acceptance, or that radical what Stephen call it? I call it that radical whatever Stephen called it to. I call it radical acceptance, but whatever. Just and do the thing. Just forget about if it will work. Just trust that the energy that you're putting in will bear some fruit. It may not. You might have thought you planted a mango tree, but maybe it was an avocado tree. Avocados take longer to grow. They take longer to grow. They good though, but they take longer to grow. So you got to feed into it more. Just water it and take care of it and love it more. And eventually, after some time has passed, that thing will sprout up and you'll be like, oh, it worked. It did work. Because even if like the immediate benefit isn't the fruit or whatever, but there's the discipline gained from being on the journey. There's the experience of everything that you've done and what you've learned from being just on the journey before you got to the end point. And that's invaluable. Like, you can't put a price on that, because I dedicated myself to something for X amount of time without knowing if it's going to work.
Yeah.
Because how many people don't have the discipline to just stick with some, y'all can't even, January 1st come around like, oh, I'm going to get in shape this year. By January 15th, y'all like, man.
No, there's always next year.
It's always next year.
Get it next year.
It's like, just go. So, there's a lot to be said about just doing the thing, just seeing for yourself. And if you're wondering if something will work for you from an energetic standpoint, then you don't have to worry, because energy, everybody's that energy, everything is energy. But like, if you're depending on a certain product, or if I have this thing, then that may not work for you. But if you're able to go to the deeper core of it, this is what I'm understanding, the deeper core of it, then it's just like you're affecting things at the root versus, a stem or a leaf. You can prune the tree and it'll grow, but if if the roots is jacked up, then it's gonna, it's not gonna grow the way you want. You got to go to the root, and that just takes self-discovery, that takes persistence, it takes perseverance, it takes discipline. You don't get to just give up because it didn't work in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You can't microwave this. You have to put the energy in, because that's the only way to get the result that you want back. You have to. So.
Well, what's next, John?
Oh, man.
It's like when you've been, we often talk about how people allow their dis-ease to be a pet. It's their little pet. It's their pet snake. It's their pet dog. It's their pet rabbit. And they always want to talk about their pet and show people their pet. What happens when your pet gets run over by a car and dies?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? For this to not be a constant struggle at this level, what are the and obviously you're still taking strides forward, but with the future opening up and being able to see things a little bit more brightly or clearly, what are you looking to do in the future?
So obviously I'm just continue working on my health and my fitness and getting things back to actually even a better level than before. Before I couldn't absorb nutrients properly. Quick story, I went on a hike after I started seeing some success. I was fasting. And, I would get to a certain point in the hike and I would get tired. I'm like, okay, and then I came off the fast the next morning. I did my hike again, and I had some cucumber. I had, stuff that you normally break it with. And I went on my hike, and then I felt like a new man. Like, I felt like I had so much energy. And it was just like, for so many years, I never really shared this with anybody, but I kind of legitimately thought that food doesn't give you energy, because I never felt energized after eating it. I never felt like it did anything for me. And I, again, I had some avocado and cucumber and stuff, and I just went on that hike, and I was just like, this is I was struggling yesterday, just going to the So I'm actually able to, my body's just been improving and stuff. So my health, that thing, my fitness, like maybe getting as ripped as I was before, but to be bigger, you know what I mean? Going to be doing some traveling. I want to continue to expand things in that psychic realm, because that's just a major thing for me. It just is, and it kind of took a while to really understand that, but with all my experiences, like that gives me tremendous joy to be in that place. So I want to keep looking on that. And Miss Blue told me that, like, having experiences with plant medicine will really be the thing that will direct me, that wasn't the reason why I was going to, travel around in South America, but that is just like, oh, okay, maybe that's why I've had that desire to do that. So, and again, Miss Blue tells me I'm,
a 10 hut.
I am going to listen, because
John got his marching orders.
Look, you know what I mean?
That's what's up, man. So
there's that, and just seeing where life goes. I know that in my life that I have there's an importance for teaching, and it's just like, okay, that's kind of like what I'm supposed to do, but it's how am I supposed to do it? What media do I use to do it? And so finding that out, it's all a journey. It's all, it's just all part of the journey. So, I mean, I have this information, and I share it freely with people who want it. I don't force it down your throat. I don't even feel a way if I tell you something that I know it benefits you and you don't do it. I just want you to be successful, but you have to want you to be successful, because, but so just being detached in that way, not being my feelings hurt because what I could offer them would help and they don't listen. So it's just, just having that in balance.
Well, that's amazing. Obviously the journey continues, because when we stop learning, when we stop growing, when we become closed-minded, that's when the death process starts. And I know both of us want to have long, healthy lives. like, you know, people think about getting older as like falling apart, and I think of getting older as getting stronger, becoming more wise.
Me too.
You know what I'm saying? Like, my life has only gotten better as I've gotten older.
Right.
So I want to continue that, you know, that process and have a high quality of life as I get older, and then obviously be able to share as much as that with as many people as I can along the way.
Yeah.
And, you know, sounds like you're interested in doing something very similar. So I look forward to seeing your continued progress. I'm excited, and I'm obviously excited to see where the wind blows you. So maybe I can come and visit South America.
Come on, man.
See what's going on down there.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good times. Man. It's gonna be good times. So
listen, y'all, I hope you appreciate this, because this is rare. Getting John here, it's been hard. It's been hard keeping here long enough to do this. But if you enjoyed it, if you watched it, if you got the benefit, if you were able to open your mind and not be closed-minded and listen to the entire story, and be able to you know, digest so many of the monumental things that was discussed today, this is probably going to be one of the most impactful interviews that we've done. And I think it speaks to a large audience, but it speaks to a very niche audience as well. John, I appreciate you coming on, and I look forward to having another one of these where we catch up and see where you've progressed from here. Because the one thing that I'll say is you're in a 100% better place than you were when you left.
Whew.
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't even know 100%, 1,000%. I don't know. Like,
look, I'll take it. So yes.
John, what's your social media? Because you are doing some stuff on social media now, right? So
yeah. So I started a YouTube channel again. I promise I'm actually. The
energy behind it feels different. I'll say that.
Yes. And so I started a channel again. So if you're interested in my journey as it's been, but also the continuation of just where I'm going, because I'm developing in a different way. But it's Johnny Jupiter, JONNY, Jupiter, JUPITER. On YouTube, and Johnny Jupiter 444 on Instagram. If you're interested, I'm getting better at I'm figuring out kind of how I want to do things, what resonates with people, and but also really more importantly, what I like, what brings me.
Yes.
Because when you move from that energy, then it's just like everything else is a bonus.
Yeah.
You don't get burned out. So there's lots of things that I like, but. You know, just kind of I'm on the trail, and I'm figuring it out. But it's definitely different, and even elements of things that I've done before, I think will make a resurgence. But it'll be under this umbrella, and it won't be only fitness or
it'll be refreshed.
Yeah, it'll be refreshed. So. So those two, that's really all I use currently. So if you're interested, give me a subscribe or a follow. And, we can chat.
All right. Well, listen, y'all. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you have not already. And as always, the application of knowledge is power. And we'll see you all next time.